Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up and we've got prep test B, game 2. I'm going to open that one up. So, game 2. Okay, so the lovely tree game. All right, so what do we have here in terms of our rules? So let me just make sure. Yeah, so if we don't have O or we don't have L or we have neither of them, yeah, okay, so that's looking good to me. So all of these are great. The first one is D, okay, so D we have F, no P, that's fine. L, so we have L and yeah, we have L on its own, which I don't think is a trigger actually. Oh no, L on its own, so O is out. If O is out, we should have F and S, which we do, great. And then we, okay, and then use is in, Maples is not. Yeah, that looks fine. What's wrong here? Maples and Yews we can't have together. What's wrong here? Firs and pines we can't have together. What's wrong here? We have L and O, but we don't have Y. Good. Up here, we have maples, which means we don't have Y, which means that we should have L or O, and we don't. Okay, so D is the correct answer. Good. If neither maples nor spruces are in the park, so no maples doesn't have any consequences, but if we don't have spruces, then we should have both L and O. And if we have both L and O, then we should also have Y. So that eliminates C, D, and E. Okay, so we have LOY in for sure, and then what else is going on? So what do we know is out? So we have L, O, and Y in for sure, and we don't have maples, and we don't have spruces. So what are the options that could be in? The only remaining players are F and P, but we can't have both of them in because if we have F and P is out, P and F is out. So that means that it is possible that we have 4 kinds, right? We could have firs or pines added, but we can't have 5 kinds because we can't have both firs and pines added. Great, so A is the correct answer. That's awesome. All right, D, which one of the following could be true? We don't have firs and we don't have laurels. So that's going to be a problem. Okay, not going to be A. Because, yeah, if we don't have firs, then we should have laurels and oaks. B, neither laurels, oaks, nor yews are in the park. Well, if we don't have yews, then we should have laurels or oaks. So it's actually not B. Okay, so if I go through here, I can say that's correct, but then B is incorrect there. Neither laurels nor spruces are in the park. I think that's the same problem as A. So if we don't have laurels, then we should have firs and spruces. So that one's out. Okay, so A, B, C are out. Neither maples nor yews. That is possible. So not having maples isn't a trigger. Not having yews is a trigger for laurels and oaks, which would then be a trigger for firs and spruces, but it never comes back to maples. So there's no contradiction there. So D is the correct answer. Okay. And that's really just testing you on like, do you understand that first rule, right? That both of them could be out and that's no problem. We need to have at least one of them in. Or no, sorry, we have to have at least one of them out. We don't have to have at least one of them in. All right. And then neither oaks nor spruces, again, same kind of issue as A and C is that we're conflicting with that last rule. Okay. Great. So D is the correct answer there. I should probably just erase these because I'm going to have to move to the other side of the page, and those things wouldn't move with it. All right, if firs are not in the park, so firs are out, that means laurels and oaks are in, which means that yews are in. So laurels, oaks, and yews, and then we don't have firs. That's all we know. So this we don't know, but we know we've got laurels, oaks, and yews, and then we know no firs, and that's how we got to that point. What must be true? It must be true that yews are not in the park. No, or sorry, not that yews are not in the park. Sorry, yews are definitely in the park. So so no firs. So we have to have laurels, oaks, and yews. Oh, because we have yews, we can't have maples. There we go. All right. I went backwards there with the yews are not in the park. Yeah, if we have L, O, and Y, having Y means that we don't have M. Okay, so for 10, yeah, A is the correct answer. Awesome. That's interesting. It looks like you may have done the same thing, C, and then crossed it out. Okay, 11, if pines are in the park. So pines are in. That means that firs are out, right? Okay, so we're kind of going along the same chain. Firs being out means that laurels and oaks are in. Laurels and oaks being in means yews are in. Means maples are out. Which player is unaccounted for here, or do we have any unaccounted for? Spruces. So spruces we don't know about. So what must be true? Neither firs nor maples are in the park. Yep, that's got to be true. So C is correct. Okay, those guys are correct. And 12. Let's start from scratch on that one. Each of the following could be an accurate partial list of the kinds of the tree in the park, except. So could be an accurate partial list of the kinds in the park. So could you have oaks and spruces both in the park? Sure, yeah. You could totally do that. Could you have oaks and yews both in the park? Definitely. We've seen a lot of examples of that. Firs, laurels, and oaks. So if you have firs, then you don't have pine, but that doesn't matter. Otherwise, firs being in isn't going to trigger anything. So don't see how that's going to be a problem. Laurels and oaks means that you have yews and you don't have maple, but we've seen an example of this for sure. So firs, maples, and oaks. Ooh. No, I think that's okay because if as long as we don't have laurels as well, then it's not going to be a problem. So let's show that one though. We have firs, so we have no pines, we have maples, so no yews. Since we have no yews, we can't have both laurels and oaks, so laurels are out. Laurels being out means that we have to have F and S in. And yeah, I think that covers it, right? That's all 7 players accounted for, so that one will be fine. So it looks like E is going to cause problems, and I can see now why. I can also see why it would be easily missed. And the reason is that laurels and oaks both being in, and see how they've separated them here with maples, but they are both in. Laurels and oaks being in means that yews are in, and yews being in means maples should be out, right? So we could also do it the opposite way where we say, okay, maples are in, therefore yews are out. Therefore, we can't have both laurels and oaks, right? We can have one or the other, but not both. So since we can't have both, this isn't going to work. Yeah, so E is the correct answer on that one. So not C, but E. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully that helps with this guy. But yeah, you got the rules all correct. It was more just in interpreting. So for this one, I think the key rule to interpret would be rule 3. What about 9? Which one of the following could be true? Yeah, the key interpretation there I think was more rule 1, but potentially there was a misinterpretation here because B is not possible. So I think it was actually the not both thing on both of them that would have helped to better understand this as a consequence of yews being out, right? So laurels or oaks, but not both. So yeah, if U's are out, then we can't have both of these guys in or both of them out. Okay, great. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions on this or any other game, and I will see you in session.